Hi all and welcome to the Week 5 tutorial. A topic to explore this week is the politics of climate change, media and popular construction of climate change. I've decided to focus on the topic of media for my tutorial. There has been a large increase in technology and subsequently the amount of various forms of media. For example, social media, podcasts, radio and television. This has shifted and allows a great number of people to be able to report or share information with other people. The media interpretation and potentially misrepresentations of climate change can be conflicting with other media or with the science. With the increasing climate science over the decades, so too the increase in climate change agenda within social and media forums. With such a large issue with many contributors, there is often strong opinions around the various issues. Climate science knowledge has increased with the advancements in technology and with the greater understanding of the science. Although this has not led to greater communication of climate science to the public. Some members of the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, the IPCC, argue that in general, media representations and communication of climate science are lacking accuracy. It is suggested that some of the reasons for this are poor communication between scientists and the media, arguing that greater communication needs to be improved, journalists not being able to understand or interpret assessments carried out by the IPCC due to not having a scientific background, inaccuracies in reporting on scientific findings of the assessment reports, further, not understanding and using climate change terminology correctly, the one-sided viewpoint of presenting negatives only around the impacts of climate change, with a lack of presenting some positives around potential mitigation or positive behavioural changes to help mitigate climate change, and many more communication issues. The climate change debate, or is it actually a debate? Presenter John Oliver suggests the only reason it's a debate is because it's on television. Arguments from either side are in general in regards to whether it is occurring, is it anthropogenic, or is it part of the Earth's natural climatic changes? Money, who should pay for it, and the list continues. The IPCC state that warming has occurred to the ocean, land, and atmosphere, and it is unequivocally anthropogenic. However, the general public would likely get the majority of their information through media, documentaries, news articles, and this reinterpretation of scientific information is potentially the cause of uncertainty. Members of the IPCC put together a list of common areas of climatic science that are often communicated incorrectly by the media. For example, funding climate change research would impact funding elsewhere, such as education. Sea level rise is predominantly as a result of melting glaciers. All significant natural events are as a result of climate change, and naturally occurring change and anthropogenic climate change are the same processes. These common misrepresentations or potentially intentional arguments against climate science can be seen in all forms of media, with a good example of this being the Fox News 2017 Tucker vs. Bill Nye, the Science Guy, within our Week 5 material. The media is a crucial piece of societal framework. It has a significant role in informing the wider community. This will in turn present common themes, resulting in common understanding, potentially not aligning with scientific understanding. This is likely as a result of there being only so many minutes in an article, or so many paragraphs in a newspaper or online media article, leading to newsworthy climate change issues seemingly being of greater importance to climate science, increasing the likelihood of it becoming a more important issue to the audience. There are contributors that advance climate change information into articles, for example climate summits, or the release of assessment reports or supplementary reports. Further, current global or regional events will likely bring climate change or specific areas of climate change to the forefront. For example, large natural events like floods, coral bleaching, droughts, or catastrophic fire events such as the 2019-2020 Australian summer bushfires. Adding further complexity, the reporting of climate change during abnormal weather conditions may be used as a way for journalists to convey their message, as it's more likely to be considered by the audience whilst they can relate more directly to the changes. These abnormal weather conditions will also contribute to greater social media discussion, in turn presenting greater social awareness of the issue, resulting in the media to focus on it, thus demonstrating the varied feedbacks within media coverage on climate change. Just because a person does not agree with an argument does not necessarily mean that they are a denier or against the science. There is most certainly a very important role in science for skepticism. This undoubtedly leads to stronger theories and more critical analysis. However, for skepticism to play an important role, it must do some key things. It must come from a point of view that critically analyzes both sides of an argument, understand uncertainties from an argument, and therefore be without any prejudice. Although people may be labelled a skeptic in a negative way, it is most likely that they're uncertain about the causes or impacts of climate change due to the varied messaging from the media. It is likely that uncertainty on climate change is a result of how the information is presented, rather than the person not believing the science directly. In addition, and adding even more complexity, is potentially the drive for media outlets to present and to be balanced, which is a positive. However, oversimplifying the need to be balanced has downfalls. With regards to an issue such as climate change, there is founded strong evidence to back the arguments. The media's attempt to provide a balanced view of the issue can instead provide a false view that arguments for and against climate science conclusions are supported equally. However, this is not the case for climate change, as one argument is backed by strong evidence and the other is backed by opinions. Climate science consensus on climate change is clear. Despite this, many in the public are not aware of the consensus, or may not believe there is one. This has consequences. If the general public do not know that there is a scientific consensus, then they are less likely to change behaviours in order to address the issue. Further, they are less likely to put pressure on governments, putting their support behind decision makers that do understand the scientific consensus. Scientists know they need to convey the message clearly and succinctly to the public. It's suggested that the best approach to this is taking an interdisciplinary approach. Further, taking an interdisciplinary approach will address the varied social, environmental, financial, political, and economical aspects intrinsic in climate change. Not only should the message be addressed by climate science, there should also be inclusions of other fields. For example, law, biology, environmental chemistry, or sociology. If greater communication is built between scientists and the media, then potentially conveying accurate information to the general public will become commonplace.